It is Monday, December 9th, 2024. This is another edition of Football Today, presented to you by Captain Morgan, the official spiced rum of the NFL. You know those dudes, Bobby Skinner, Justin Penik. I am Chris Rose, producer Connor, along with us as well as we are wrapping up week 14 around the NFL. Hard to believe we've just got 1 month left to go. And I haven't listened to the Talking Giants episode yet, Bobby, but boy, I cannot wait to hear you guys break down Brian Brzee jumping over your snapper and then actually blocking what would have been the game-tying field goal with seconds left while he was falling down on the ground.
And the home crowd went wild because that's where the Giants are. And instead of talking about the game, we talk about planes in the sky afterwards, which I do think we're gonna have to get some type of talking Giants plane and banner up after later on this season. But Rose, how we doing?
We're doing great. Interesting football, unquestionably, on Sunday. So let's get it going with the last game of the day. It is time for our La Vida Más Fina game of the week. It is brought to you by Corona. And Sunday night, the Kansas City Chiefs, not shockingly, they clinched their ninth straight AFC West crown, but the way they did it was remarkable. Last 4 minutes and 35 seconds, they milked off the clock. They went 14 plays, 47 yards, and it ended with a field goal from Matthew Wright from 31 yards out that clanked off the left upright and went the right direction. So they beat the Chargers. They take down the West. They now have a two-game lead over the Bills in the race for the best record in the AFC. And Penik, a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, they're 12-1, but look at the way they win. Everything's a one-score game. Here they get lucky. It ricochets off the upright." Can't we just say, "Listen, this is the way the Chiefs are. Accept it and stop throwing darts at them."
Yeah, and this is something that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, but the last 2 weeks that they've had, both 19-17 victories, and both kind of the drive leading up to the field goal isn't lucky, I guess. Hitting the crossbar and the ball still going in. I'm not a special teams guy. I mean, the Chiefs did win that game; they put themselves in position to win that game. But the stuff last week against the Raiders was like the pure witch, the witch magic stuff that's happened underneath that stadium. Um, this is who they are. This is who they've been. And Collinsworth talked about it on the broadcast. This is a team that's led by their defense. It's a team that's led by their coaching, their experienced coaching. It's a team that's going to continue to be led by their defense. But even in the postseason, I think part of me even thinks that the Chiefs are holding something back. That they are holding some more deep concepts back, that they are maybe even holding a little bit of Patrick Mahomes back. Because you saw that Mahomes magic on the last possession. You saw him scrambling to his right, scrambling to his left, throwing the ball to Kelsey, throwing the ball to Xavier Worthy down the field on that final drive. So I do. All it takes is one team to have a really good day, and the Chiefs to just have a solid day for them to go down. But this is who they are. This is who they've been the last 2 years, and they're still a really damn good football team.
Yeah, I mean, I feel as confident in the Chiefs, more confident in the Chiefs than any other team putting together, two or three wins. If you're not the one seed, the Chiefs would only need two wins at the moment. At the one seed, I mean, they are elite on offense on grinding out a drive. You know, in 13 games, Mahomes has 7 game-winning drives, and they're first in offensive success rate, which is measuring. You need to get 40% of the yards for a first down, 60% on second down, and 100% on third and fourth down. They're first in that. They're top 10 in total passing. They just know how to grind out a drive. So you have like a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense with a playoff and a Super Bowl pedigree at head coach and quarterback. And here's the thing is I don't think their offense has been as rough since DeAndre Hopkins joined anyways. Like in 6 games, Hawkins has over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Mahomes is averaging 256 yards per game, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in these last 6 games. Like their passing offense has improved where Mahomes is throwing all those interceptions early in the season. Like I think they're just getting stronger.
When they first put Patrick Mahomes in the starting lineup in 2018, it was so fun. There was like this youthful energy that came into the starting lineup, the whole bit, and they ran all the way to the AFC title game. Um, then they continued with that offensive momentum for a couple of years, but they kind of remind me of an aging pitcher in baseball who has to change his repertoire because he doesn't throw 97 anymore. And now he throws 93. And so the fastball's got to be located better. He's got to rely on his off speed stuff a little bit more. It doesn't mean that he can't be great. It's a little like Clayton Kershaw, who has still remained maybe not as elite as when he first came up and was winning multiple Cy Youngs and an MVP award, but he's still really effective. And at the end of the season, you're like, wow, his numbers are still really, really good. And I think that that's what the Chiefs have done. They have changed their identity, and I applaud them because they're 10 and 0 in one score games this year. Uh, Actually, they're I believe they're 10 and 0 in one score games. They've won 15 straight one score games, which is an NFL record dating back to last season. Um, 10 times they've come from behind to win games this year. Like those are traits that you talk about when you're discussing elite teams. And if anybody else was 12 and 1, we'd be like, "Oh my God, they're 12 and 1." We
Hmm.
wouldn't necessarily nitpick at them, Bobby, the way that we do the Chiefs.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that before. Like, what if they just had like, what if they, had three losses, and what if they had three losses, but they had like two blowout wins? Like, would we feel better about them if it looked that way? So, I think this is, like you said, this is just what they are. Now, you mentioned the pitcher analogy, but it's not because of Matt Holmes, it's because of the surrounding cast on the offense, right? Where you have, your wide receiver one is 30 plus. Travis Kelce is aging a little bit. You don't have a Tyreek Hill here anymore. And then, you have this explosive threat in Xavier Worthy, but he's someone who's a limited player right now. Maybe, Hollywood Brown coming back can make a difference. But to me, like all this does is signal that they're gonna be better. Like this proves that they're gonna be better in the playoffs, right? We see some of these high, these offenses that are flashy and stuff, and then they get to the playoffs and it doesn't work as well. This is the type of stuff that does work in the playoffs. Grind it out, need a drive type of football, and that's what they're the best at.
You mentioned the pitcher analogy. I mean, a lot of that stuff happens because your body's letting you down. And in this case with the Chiefs, it's the game changed because Patrick Mahomes changed the game. Patrick Mahomes changed the game with the whole too high stuff and along with the other, some of the other great quarterbacks that we see in the NFL too. But the Chiefs single-handedly changed kind of the way NFL defenses are kind of played and specifically the way defenses play against them. And this is their ultimate response to that is being number one in success rate. Like Bobby said, that's not by accident. They know how defenses play them. They know their own personnel. This is their response to it. And I really do think, I said it kind of at the start, I do think they are still kind of holding stuff back. Like I think you could see Kelsey down the stretch and in the postseason more when they really want to in clutch time. You will see Xavier Worthy. You will see DeAndre Hopkins is such a weapon inside the red zone. So I do honestly think that they could unveil more stuff as the postseason goes on and let Mahomes be Mahomes, run around and make plays similar to the way that he did in that 4 minute game winning drive last night.
So that is the game of the week, brought to you by Corona. And you know what? We always try and be around here. That would be a fan that never loses. And here's what we mean. Our teams, Giants and Browns, don't win every single day. In fact, they've won a combined 5 times all season. But even when they lose, we still love the game because whether it's a big deep ball or a conversion of third and fourth and short or a great tailgate, which is what you'll see Penik and Bobby at out in the parking lot, there's always something to cheer for. And the best beer to pair with those awesome moments, it's the one and only Corona. Corona is all about finding the maximum amount of joy within every moment of the game. So win or lose, home or the road, it is the perfect beer to go along with watching football and all the moments that come along with it. So cheers to everybody who loves the game beyond the scoreboard. Corona for the fan who never loses. Get yours at ordercorona.com for 21 and over. Relax responsibly. Corona Extra Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois. So why don't you grab one of those Coronas coming up every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. It's on our Warehouse Games channel. It's the latest installment of Blitzball Battle 5, which is coming down and grinding to the end. Here's a preview.
It is semifinal time here in the warehouse as Team Baggage takes on Lovias. It's been a while since we've seen them. They've been resting. They've been relaxing. They got their pitching in order. The tandem of Nicky Cass and Dalton Feely feeling great.
They feel great, and they are the favourites. They have obviously been swinging the bat as good as anybody until yesterday when we saw Baggage unlock something. Extra base hits. They were known for their singles, and I'm not just talking about Match.com. We're talking about actual singles. These guys could not get an extra base hit to save their lives. That all changed yesterday.
All right, prediction time. Kelsey Wingert, who do you have in this one?
Lavia is the only team to have a bye. Baggage is running hot. So because of that, I'm going to take Team Lavia's because every time I try to take Team Baggage thinking that they're going to win, they lose. Baggage, but Lavia's. You get it?
I haven't picked Lovia's for obvious reasons, so I'm picking Baggage.
I got Baggage. I thought it was nuts. I still think I'm nuts, but I'm going to go with Baggage.
I love it.
The winner has a berth in the final. It's Blitzball Battle 5, presented to you by DraftKings.
And don't forget to join us in the chat. Once again, that's Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. It is always a ton of fun, and we love it because you can talk shit to everybody that's playing in the game or the announcers or whatever you love most about Blitzball Battle 5, and it has been a blast, unquestionably. All right, guys, let's head up to the Twin Cities for a little more talk of what happened. And the Atlanta Falcons went up there. Kirk Cousins spent 6 seasons as the Vikings quarterback, left Atlanta for a $180 million deal. The first 9 games went fine, but now he's totally hit the shitter. The team is winless in the last month. They get doubled up in Minnesota, 42-21 the final, and gets totally outclassed by his replacement, Sam Darnold, who threw for a career high not only in yards, but also 5 touchdown passes. So my big question here is, do you believe in Sam Darnold moving forward, or are you more interested in the Atlanta quarterback situation where Raheem Morris came out and said, hey, Kirk Cousins is still our guy? Bobby, you can hit leadoff here.
I'm actually, I've been very interested in the whole Falcons dynamic. I'm actually starting to become more interested on the Sam Darnold situation in Minnesota. This was obviously his best game, with the 5 touch or best statistical game. But like he's doing good things, sure, is there times where Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson are catching punts for touchdowns? Yes, that's happening, right? Those guys are making plays, like spectacular plays. And I want to talk about the Falcons defense too when we get in this, because I'm just like, why does no one talk about them being trash? But like he's making plays with his legs, he's being aggressive. There's still you have the Sam Darnold worries, right? There's way too many times where I'm seeing the ball pop out because he's throwing the ball as he's getting hit, and you could lose a playoff game because you do some shit like that. But if we're gonna at what point do the Vikings just consider keeping Sam Darnold?
That's what I'm wondering.
Because he's running their offense well, and the question is, when do we get into a Drew Brees, Philip Rivers situation, which I don't think this is. I don't think J.J. McCarthy is going to be good as Philip Rivers, and I certainly don't think Sam Darnold is anywhere near Drew Brees, who's one of the greatest all time. But when do we get into a situation like that? Because these are better plays than what I think J.J. McCarthy can physically do.
Yeah, and also forget the whole whatever
and they should be trying to win now too.
And forget whatever they do in the postseason, right? If they go 2-2 down the stretch, that's a 13-4 season. Sam Darnold wins 13 games for your Minnesota Vikings. When we viewed the offseason that the Vikings had as not a spectacular one, and you're going to let him walk and say goodbye, that's kind of tough.
Listen, guys, he's going to finish with over 4,000 passing yards. He's probably going to finish with more than 35 touchdown passes. And the guy doesn't even turn 28 until next summer. So I think they have some real deep soul searching to do. Now, the problem is when you pick a quarterback as high as they selected J.J. McCarthy, and I think he went, 10th overall or something like that?
Yeah, they traded up for him.
Yeah, they did. They traded up for him as well. Then you're going to say, listen, we loved this guy. We loved him. And Sam Darnold's going to hit the open market. I think the floor for his next deal is what Baker Mayfield got, right? 3 for $100, right? That's the minimum he gets at this age when he has played this well. Wouldn't you think?
I don't know, man. Here's the thing: is the Minnesota offense. I feel I'm with you. Listen, it does not create perfect quarterback play or great quarterback play, but it sure as hell makes you look better than what you are, right? This isn't. I don't think this is similar to Baker and Tampa. Where listen, did the Bucks have weapons for Baker to do what he did? Yeah, but the Vikings offense is just like it's QB heaven. It's like if you can't do it there, where can you do it? And here's the part is like how much do they love JJ McCarthy? Because the Vikings were offering first round picks to try and get up and get Drake May. So they didn't love him enough to be like, well, we won't offer first round picks to get our next quarterback. Like if it was anywhere close on their two evaluations, they would have just standed pat and did what they did and got JJ McCarthy. So how much did they actually love him? I don't love JJ McCarthy, but I'm not going to judge him before he plays an NFL snap. Like how much did they love him? But all the rumors say that they're going to let him walk. Now that was Sunday morning before he threw 5 touchdowns, and where will come. Justin said, "Forget the playoffs." I think the playoffs is where the decision happens. They lay an egg in the first round of the playoffs. It's over. If they get to the NFC Championship game, that's going to be like there's going to be a lot of pressure on McCarthy to deliver right away.
Even if they win 14 regular season games, but let's say they lay a dud, and let's say the Lions walk away with it, they take the number 1 seed, right? And they lay a dud in the wild card round, and he wins 14 regular season games. It's just, easy solution, goodbye.
I don't think it's easy. It's tough, but I think the Vikings believe in what they're doing.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think they know if there's anyone who knows how well their offense is, works for quarterbacks, it's them.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. It's the other teams that I don't trust to keep their money in their wallet necessarily. We know that and it's a terrible, apparently, quarterback draft, right? You could be talking about maybe 2 first rounders, perhaps.
Let's go through that exercise. Let's say the Raiders and Giants draft quarterbacks, which I think both of them are, right? Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. Giants are hoping for Shedeur Sanders, I think. What is the team that pays Sam Darnold?
Yeah, the Titans, I would say, yes, are very much in that. I don't know what the Saints can do with the Derek Carr contract. I think that they can free themselves of that.
They have a lot of other cap
They have an injury guarantee, though.
Yeah, they do.
The Saints always try and make a way, and that was we said that when they signed Derek Carr, and they still did that. Now, Derek Carr broke his fucking wrist being a moron on Sunday, and he has an injury guarantee, so they might make it a little tougher. But yeah, you think maybe the Steelers, if what's Russell Wilson going to command? I think he'd get less than Darnold at this point, so they'd probably go with that.
I've landed on the Titans. That's my official, like that feels like something that they would do, especially with the I know they don't have Hopkins anymore, but they have the Ridley contract. I think they'd be willing to spend on some guys.
Yeah, and if Cleveland's financial situation was better, I think that would be another landing spot for him because of the coaching situation. Because you've got a guy in Kevin Stefanski who I feel like could do similar things with Sam Darnold, even though he doesn't have the wide receiver ammo that that the Vikings have up there in Minnesota.
Look, I want to ask a question on top of that question. Let's say he does go to the Titans. Do we think Sam Darnold has a good year next year? This is the question of, is Sam Darnold legit or not? Does he go to the Tennessee Titans and find success? Because I'm still not. I know he's playing well. He's doing some awesome things. I don't want to deny any of that. I'm not convinced that he goes to Tennessee and he's having himself a nice career as a starter for the next 4 or 5 years there.
Well, not the way that the Titans are constructed as of right now. No. I mean, if you were to do the position by position thing, Vikings versus the Titans offensively, I don't know how many guys on the Titans would even start for the Minnesota Vikings.
Sure, but they're building up their offensive line. They got the Ridley contract. They're going to have a top pick that they can use on, another offensive weapon.
That's the thing. Right. And so I need to see. But if he goes in right now and they were to have made no changes and that's the team he gets, they're a 5-win team. That's probably the way it goes, is my guess.
Right. And if he was a quarterback worth paying over $30 million, then he shouldn't have so that's where I don't want to deny what Darnold doing right now is really good. I'm not I feel like we've been fooled by this too many times where these quarterbacks have a great season and we're like, well, you got to pay him. You got to pay him. Now there's a guy like Baker who is, doing well, but Baker also showed a lot more success in the NFL over Sam,
Mhm.
before that year in Tampa compared to what Sam Darnold had done.
All right. Did you say that you wanted to say something about the Falcons defense
Yeah,
before we
why?
moved on from this?
Listen, Kirk Cousins, the interceptions are awful, right? Um, But I do like he throws for a lot of hard passing yards, and there's like some high level like quarterbacking that he does, but it's just the interceptions are awful. But here's like, why don't we talk about the Falcons defense being so trash? I mean, they're 25th in scoring, 26th in e-paper play. They added Judon and Justin Simmons, didn't lose anybody besides Calais Campbell, and you added a defensive head coach in Raheem Morris, and their defense just stinks.
Mhm.
You know, that's why I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it's like I feel like we never talk about that in the Falcons situation. It's that their defense has regressed big time under Raheem Morris.
Between Kirk Cousins being a statue in the pocket, I don't know if he attempted a single pass outside the tackle box or even near the tackle box yesterday. Between that and the Falcons defense, I was begging them. I'm a certified Falcons hater, where I'm begging the Buccaneers to win the NFC South because I do not want to watch this Atlanta Falcon team play on a wild card Saturday or Sunday or Monday and just they would get their ass kicked in the postseason. So I'm glad. Hopefully the Bucks take control of that division. 72% win playoff probability. Take control of it. Falcons fade into elimination.
Is there any way that if they inserted Michael Penix Jr. right now as the quarterback, that would benefit the Atlanta Falcons? Because it's not, you're not just making a change to make a change. I mean, Kirk Cousins is helping cost them games. Over the last month, 0 touchdown passes and 8 interceptions. That's a major problem. Like, do we think that at least Atlanta would have as good a shot with a rookie that's never taken more than 10 snaps in a game over
Po-
Kirk
po-
Cousins?
possibly, but I again with Kirk Cousins is throwing for a lot of yards, and it's not like you see some like against the Vikings defense that throws a lot at you. Kirk Cousins did a pretty damn good job outside of 2 plays. Now you get judged on those 2 plays, and you deserve to be. But I actually thought he did a solid job. I don't know if Penix is doing that, but he's got more of a live arm, and they have the weapons to push the ball down the field with London and Mooney and whatever you can get out of Pitts, and the run game is good. So yes, I think it's a possibility. But their next 2 games are against, I think, the Raiders and the Giants, the worst 2 teams in the NFL. I mean, if they look bad offensively against the Raiders this Sunday, then I feel like you kind of have to go to Penix at that point, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, we'll see. The next month is going to be fascinating down there in Atlanta, which sits 1 game back of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers atop the NFC South. And remember, Atlanta did sweep the season series, so all they have to do is look Tampa Bay in the eye after 17 games and say, haha, we're going to the playoffs and you're going to be watching us next week. All right, we have one team that's won 9 in a row. But not all is harmonious in the city of brotherly love. We'll get to that story, but first, Penik, take it away.
Today's episode is sponsored by DraftKings. Grab your favorite team's jersey and some snacks and head to the couch for another Sunday of action-packed football. Get even closer to the action each Sunday with our partners at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, all new customers bet $5 on anything. You're going to get $150 in bonus bet if your bet wins when you use our code football today. Stay in on the action. Use your $150 in bonus bets on DraftKings same game parlays. First shot at an even bigger payout. And if the sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy. Have a shot to win cash prizes. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. New customers use our promo code football today, all one word. Bet $5 on any wager and get $150 in bonus bets. If your bet wins, that's promo code football today, only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. You will be glad you did.
Well, the Eagles fans are glad that they tuned in and watched the 22-16 win over the Carolina Panthers. It was Philly's 9th straight win. You couple that with some teams losing, and Philadelphia officially punches its playoff ticket. But not all was well with the Eagles. They threw for just over 100 yards. After the game, A.J. Brown, who caught all 4 of his targets on Sunday, was asked, what's wrong with the offense, or what could you do better with the offense? And his one-word answer was passing. Penik, does he just need to take the win in stride and be quiet, or is A.J. Brown actually onto something here?
I I think he's on to something, but at the same time, maybe you want your wide receiver one just to, hey, we're taking the win, where we have control of our own destiny, blah blah blah, and just kind of maybe say this behind closed doors because the Eagles' offensive situation, particularly on the passing side of it, it's not as bad as it was last year. Obviously Saquon Barkley running away and looking to get MVP, so the offense is good. But the passing offense not as bad as it was last year, but there are opportunities, and particularly against the Panthers, where AJ Brown has opportunities for touchdowns, wide open touchdowns down the field. There was a touchdown where AJ Brown was kind of missed inside the red zone too. So I think Jalen Hurts has been fine this year, unlike last year where he was bad under pressure. There was no semblance of a quick game for the Eagles. So the problems aren't that bad, but this is why last week on the show, and people on social media started to question me when we had these talking points. Like, this is why if we're doing a draft of quarterbacks in the postseason, I think right now Jalen Hurts is fine, and he has these games and these moments where he misses guys and misses opportunities down the field or misses opportunities for to have positive production for his offense.
Forget games and moments. I mean, they're 31st in passing yards per game. And yeah, they're running the ball. So is Derrick Henry. Like Henry's running the fuck out of the ball, but Lamar's ninth in passing yards per game, and he has double the passing touchdowns in the red zone. Now Jalen Hurts has the tush push touchdowns, and that's all well and dandy. But yeah, I mean they're a great rushing offense. They're becoming a great defense, and they're kind of a mediocre passing offense. They get big plays when you throw the ball to AJ Brown, as any team would, but it never looks like a well-oiled machine with their passing game. And when in reality it should. It should. They should look like they should, even if they don't, again, they're 31st in passing yards. Even if they were 16th or 17th in passing yards,
It's fine.
that doesn't look good. They should look great when they drop back to pass. You have a 50+ mil per year quarterback. You have two wide receiver ones in AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. You have Dallas Goedert.
I think he's gone. Done for
Oh
the
yeah,
season,
he was out last week, but they've had him for majority. Calcaterra was out there yesterday, but you had an offensive line that's better run blocking, but handles its own pass blocking as long as Lane Johnson is healthy. There, and it never looks pretty. It never looks like a pretty passing offense.
Well, so he's right in his assessment that they do have to do better, and my buddies here just backed it up with a bunch of stats. And we don't talk about A.J. Brown sometimes being upper echelon. We all think that he is, but we don't mention it. But he does. He can be a total game changer and an attitude setter, too.
He's great.
Yeah, he is great. And I would be all in favor of trying to get him involved early. And you mentioned in the red zone and everywhere else. So, and if you go back and you listen to the conversation, he wasn't like passing. Like he stopped. He started to, you could see the wheels turning in his head. And I know that some people point back to Cortland Sutton earlier this year, who's had a very good year for the Denver Broncos, who was held without a target, not a catch, without a target in a 33-10 win over the New Orleans Saints. And somebody asked him after the game, were you bothered that you weren't even targeted? He's like, no, we won by 23 points. Because we were running the ball all over them. Like, the goal is to win the game. So it's just an opposite end. We know about the diva status of some wide receivers. I think I do want some guys who are pissed off if they're not in the game plan and feel like they should have beaten the Carolina Panthers by 17 points instead of holding on and praying that Bryce Young doesn't complete this miracle drive with seconds to go. I'm okay with him being pissed.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, they should have Super Bowl aspirations.
Right.
You have that running game. You have that defense. You have that type of offensive weaponry, and you're paying your quarterback. They should be just as much as a Super Bowl contender as the Detroit Lions.
Well, I would say that the Eagles will be involved in the most interesting game of next week. It's the Battle of the State of Pennsylvania when the Steelers come a-calling. Also next week, next Sunday night, a pair of playoff hopefuls, meeting in Seattle as the Packers come into town. Other than that, not a ton of other great games, but obviously ones that'll have playoff implications. That'll do it for us for today. For Justin Penik and Bobby Skinner and producer Connor, who continues to do an amazing job here at John Boy Media, I am Chris Rose. We will see you next time here on Football Today, presented to you by Captain Morgan, the official spiced rum of the NFL.